you, obviously, otherwise I wouldn't be here. Financing fees, I suppose crudely how that works, the UCAS application process, and some things to look out for with regards to our particular programs. Entry requirements, we've done a lot of work recently on our website and through Roy and the careers portal to make that more clear for students from the Republic, and we will continue to do so as well. I've got a raise of hand here from Sue. Just want to double check before I move on. Sue, are you looking to ask something? No? Okay, sorry, that's just one of the little functions that comes up there. The application form for the Talented Athlete Scheme is also open as of from last week, I think. I've got a screenshot of that just to show you where to go to get that. And of course, hopefully we'll have a bit of time at the end for questions as well. So of course, for us, the question or the argument is why go north? And of course, we're looking at finance as being one of the top of the agenda, followed by the portfolio of courses that we have to offer, and other unique selling points, for example, like the fully funded programs within health sciences, nursing, social work, for example, as well. Why are we the most affordable region within the UK? Well, of course, which 2018, of course, following that as well, I presume so will be the case, have identified Northern Ireland, of course, as one of the most cost-effective places to live, not just in general, but also as a student as well, when we take into account the student costs of accommodation, but also for the cost of studying with regards to the tuition fee, and especially in comparison with regards to the accommodation for students looking at accommodation and studying within the Republic of Ireland as well. So effectively what we're saying here with regards to the tuition fee is that you're paying nothing until you graduate from Ulster University, because of course you can avail of the student finance loan that covers the cost of the €5,000 tuition fee loan that a student would incur throughout their study, whether it be 3, 4 or 5 years if they undertake a placement, and for example if they're doing pharmacy or a course, for example masters in civil engineering, which would take 5 years, which includes their placement year as well. So overall we're looking at a student or an applicant saving £12,000. That's a student from the Republic of Ireland, €12,000 in terms of college costs. And of course, if we look at the figures here, and of course you can apply to Student Finance Services, the EU team. I did have a great screenshot and images for this earlier on, but as I mentioned at the start of the presentation, my laptop kicked the bucket, so I'm on another one here at this moment in time. I did my best to get everything back up and running again, but you can see there from the table with regards to finance, if we look at the comparative figures for somebody who's studying 3 years, including maybe a placement, tuition fees €5,000, that's absorbed by the Student Finance tuition fee loan, which you don't have to pay back until you earn over, I think it's €27,000 in the future. So the idea here is that it's like a graduate tax, so to speak, as you pass through second level education to third level education, as we call it specifically in the UK. Obviously your earning capacity is more, so the idea is that you will have more money, more disposable income to be able to pay back that tuition fee loan. That is only at 9% of your actual income itself. So roughly speaking, for example, if you're earning over 23 or 25,000 pound in the north, you'd only be spending or paying back £45 or maybe €50 per month as a part of your tuition fee loan repayment, and only after you graduate from the university itself. With regards to Brexit, very quickly, of course, there are no hurdles. I suppose those fears have been eradicated. Both North and South bodies have worked very hard to make sure this is seamless. And the same goes for the Department of Health funded courses. So we're talking here the likes of nursing, physio, occupational therapy, dietetics, and so on, but we'll touch on those later on in the presentation. Very quickly, just for, I don't want to spend too much time because I know we don't have a huge amount of time. I've been delighted to come into the school or on a webinar to do a presentation to your students on all the courses we have throughout our 3 campuses. But one thing just to point out, of course, Jordanstown is closing as a teaching campus. It will remain as our sports facility, which will be expanded, and as our accommodation facility as well. So like a lot of universities within the UK, they have, they're city-based. This is specific to Belfast campus, and their accommodation, other sports facilities are on the outskirts, and that will be the case for Jordanstown. And with that, all the courses that we had initially offered at Jordanstown up until this year will be moving to the Belfast campus. So already at Belfast, we had the likes of architecture and the art and design programs, which there are 7 or 8 of, alongside, I think it was consumer culinary arts management. But now we have all the programs within business, within management, within computer and engineering, within law, sociology, marketing, politics, and of course our sports programs as well, albeit our students will still use the facilities out at Jordanstown as a part of their teaching and learning experience. And of course, Belfast, of course, is a new £400 million development. It's an exciting phase for us. It brings us in smack bang into the city centre. So we will see a surge in applications for Belfast, which of course is a bounce that we have expected. But it is something that we're very much looking forward to. Ideally, we would love to have you on campus to look at the facilities and so on, but they're still fitting out at this moment in time. Our first year students, for example, and second and final year students are still being taught out of Jordanstown, but they will be moving into Belfast in February for the start of the second semester, with some in already as we're phasing them in between this semester and of course bring them in full time in February 2022. And up in Coleraine on Magee campus in Derry specifically, you start to see a life and health sciences hub starting to appear. For example, in Coleraine, you have the likes of pharmacy, optometry, biomed, biology, sitting alongside the likes of geography, environmental sciences, interactive media, and journalism programs as well. And of course, one of the biggest developments of the year within Magee campus, alongside the introduction of paramedic sciences, is the introduction of the graduate medical school, which is a massive feather in our cap for the university. And that sits along very nicely alongside the likes of nursing, personalized medicine there. But obviously we offer computer and engineering programs, we offer the humanities programs, drama and music, Irish, and of course law, which obviously is both offered at Belfast and at Magee campus as well. So that's just a little whistle stop tour of the programs that we offer throughout the 3 campuses, and that's the way it'll be from now on. 1 university, 3 campuses in Belfast, Coleraine, and Magee in Derry as well. And just a couple of figures there on the Belfast campus. I mean, it is an absolutely huge building that we've put up there. I'm not going to go through too much about this, but 15,000 students and staff will come down in the Belfast city centre, right smack bang in the middle of the cathedral quarter. A lot of money's been spent here, so you know, we're expecting, and students will be expecting, world-class facilities, and they will get that. And hopefully you guys will get to see that as a part of some tour within the next 6 months as well. Now, very quickly, I'm just going to go through 4 slides that highlight our faculties. And within these, I just want to point out a few here that might look for extra selection criteria or selection processes as a part of the UCAS application process. Generally speaking, at Ulster University, we'll typically just look at grades, and we'll talk about the personal statement later on, what that means within the UCAS system as a whole. But you can see here up first is arts, humanities, and social sciences. And that's made up of 5 schools: art, communication and media, arts and humanities, law, and applied social policy sciences. And you can read the slides there yourself. The main thing to point out here is art and design, for example, requires you to have a portfolio, and you submit that digitally. You don't have to be doing art at Leaving Cert or A-level for that matter in the UK to apply for your personal portfolio, and that is just demonstrate your talent within any of the courses that you're applying for within art. Now, there's 2 things here. You can apply for art and design at foundation degree year, which allows you to touch on all the art and design subjects within your first year, or you can apply, for example, to go straight into first year of fine art or photography. So it's either a 4-year program if you do foundation year, or a 3-year program if you decide to go straight into, for example, fashion or photography or fine art itself. The other one there, of course, is social work, which comes with a £5,000 or £6,000 bursary as well. And of course, that is still eligible to students within sorry, from the Republic of Ireland as well. And they also use the video interview, which we're going to talk about later on. So I'm going to skip that for now, but it was just more so to highlight that the Sonru video interview or automated interview will be used as a part of the selection process for social work itself. And within Faculty of Computing Engineering and the Built Environment, we have, as you can see there, 1, 2, 3, 4 schools. All these programs offer students a compulsory industrial placement program, and that forms a part of the professional accreditation that's recognized within the program itself. In other words, to make it an engineering program per se. You'll see there in pink, and this will be scattered throughout some of the slides that I have. These are higher level apprenticeships, effectively. So students can work 4 days a week and study 1 day a week at the university. And instead of, for example, being a 3-year degree program, that would maybe last 4.5 years. So it's a switch from doing, say, a degree that's 3 years plus a placement, making it 4, but you're full-time, out for 1 year working and getting a salary. This is flipping it the other way. And there's a couple of very interesting subjects or courses within the university that offer that, and of course computing science would be one of those. And these are where we have partnered up with big companies, maybe through our alumni network, to offer roles within computing science, within financial investment, and so on, to give students that opportunity. And you can see there within the business school, accounting and management, business technology, financial technology would be the 3 that offer you the opportunity to earn while you learn. There are 4 days at the university, 1 day at working, still technically part-time, but it would feel like full-time for a student as well. But we are renowned for our programs within business school itself. You can see there across accounting, across the hospitality sector, management, leadership, organizational behavior, and of course across global business leadership and enterprise as well. And one thing I should point out, that all our courses, not all of our courses are offered at all 3 campuses. So it's important that students or applicants are aware of, because we know students choose programs for different reasons. Ideally, it would be for course, location, and then reputation, if we look at that as a sort of a selection model. But, you know, we do know students like to follow their friends and, you know, go across the water or do whatever it may be. But it's important that they know from our perspective, for example, that law is offered both at Belfast and Magee, that journalism is only offered at Coleraine, and that architecture is only offered at the Belfast campus. A very important slide with regards to selection criteria is our Faculty of Life and Health Sciences. So 7 schools here: Biomed Sciences, Geography, Sport, Health Sciences, Pharmacy, Psychology, and Nursing. And again, guys, you can see what the courses, what courses we offer here. Just to point out, which will be highlighted in the next slide anyway, all those courses, apart from those I've got highlighted there in blue, purple, grey, and navy blue, are only based on grades or UCAS tariff, okay? We don't look at anything else. Same with all the courses that have gone before me, except for social work itself. But if we take a close look at all these programs, these are all the fully funded programs. So everything from dietetics, radiotherapy, OT, physiopodiatry, radiotherapy, speech language therapy. Then we have nursing, the 2 nursing programs, and paramed science. They are all fully funded and fully funded for students from the Republic as well. Now, this is where it gets complicated. I hope I explained this correctly. They all require you to do a video interview. Now, the video interview is software offered by Sonru, and that's an automated video interview. So there's nobody at the other end for the applicant to worry about. We are going to do a bit of work around this. I'm still waiting for the admissions for them to give us a webinar, a recorded webinar on what this interface looks like, and give us a sort of a dummy run through what it's like to be a student doing this particular interview. It's only 15 minutes. And the video interview is going to ask 3 or 4 value-based questions. But now, what do we mean by value-based questions? So they're looking for effectively knowledge or understanding of the skills and competencies that an allied health profession would have, what they do in their day-to-day work, what challenges they have, why they enjoy it, what skills they would bring or have to use themselves. So we're looking for good understanding, and for the student themselves to reflect on why they would want to become a health profession and what would make them, for example, an effective or an excellent OT or physiotherapist as well. Now, before I go on to talk about the different video interview permutations. What we are also looking for the student or the applicant to be is to be themselves. You know, we don't want them to be robots with the same answers for every interview alongside their friends who may also be applying for the program. You know, everybody brings to the table something different in terms of their personality, their career aspirations. And we want to hear that and to feel that through the video interview itself, because it will be looked at later on, of course, by our admissions officers and the School Health Sciences team as well. Now, here's to the complicated bit. I'm going to make it very easy from the beginning. Whilst it is a video interview, we do have the scenario where a student who applies to 4 different programs may have 4 different separate, video interviews. So say student A applies for physio and podiatry only out of all this. They'll only have 1 interview. That's the ones highlighted in purple. Okay, so they are the sort of traditional allied health professions that a student may have sat the HPAT for. Now, I didn't want to mention HPAT because it's gone, but dietetics within that is the only one that if you apply for example, dietetics and physio, that you would have to sit 2 separate video interviews for. So it's only 1 if you apply for more than 1 of those that are highlighted in purple. But if you're applying for dietetics alongside, that would be 2. Now, over and above that is nursing. So we've got to take for fact that students are perfectly entitled to apply for 5 different courses here. So they could apply for paramed sciences, they could apply for a nursing course, they could apply for one of those in purple, and they could apply for dietetics. Effectively, what that means is they would have to sit 4 separate video interviews. Okay, so if you're still with me, that's very unlikely for a student who has 5 choices. A student who's maybe looking at nursing, for example, the 2 in grade, or just adult nursing, and maybe physio would have 2 interviews. So I'm hoping you're understanding where I'm coming from here. If there's any questions on that, please throw it my way now. Hopefully I've highlighted it appropriately and as clear as I can to show the different permutations. But I mean, we don't usually get students applying for those 4 different colored groupings there. But we might get somebody, or we typically might get somebody who's applying for example, maybe dietetics and radiotherapy, in which they would have to do 2 separate interviews. Okay, so hopefully that's clear. As I said to Roy at the beginning, this presentation is available for you afterwards anyway to highlight this. A confirmation of this was sent out to all you guys anyway. I hope you did receive it. I hope I have you all in my database, and if I haven't, we can do an update of that later on anyway. We do hold this information for careers guidance counsellors and teachers on our website at ulster.ac.uk/edlink. That's very specifically for you, and that is included in a newsletter that goes out to guidance counsellors and careers teachers every month anyway, or an update on that as well. So hopefully that was clear. If not, we'll come to that later on anyway. Now, a quick look at UCAS. UCAS, of course, is Universities and Colleges Admissions Service. It's completely done online for those of you who aren't used to it, where a student has up to 5 choices. They can make one if they want to at a cost of €22 or €27 for more than 1 choice as well. Sorry, that's my phone going there. There are different restrictions for the likes of medicine or for Oxbridge, in which you have one or the other, or 4 maximum for medicine itself. But one of the things to point out here for the UCAS process itself is that there is no points inflation anywhere along the application timeline that you might have within CAO because of supply and demand and so on. So once an offer is made by the university, that's it, it's contractual. And once the applicant meets those requirements or those conditions, let's keep that clear for now, because there are other permutations within that, then they're in on the course. Okay, so that's very simple. Okay, so what I was working earlier on before my laptop kicked the bucket was the new screenshots from the application process, because I think UCAS have done a whole new rebrand in their interface itself. So working from left down to the right round, you can see the sign in. They've got this big dashboard where students can make their applications. And I do know for you guys, or for some of you, or a lot of you, you don't go through the center. students maybe apply individually themselves and they come to you to get their reference put on. With this, a centre sort of a model, schools within Northern Ireland, for example, are able to track how far each student is along the applicant or the application process, so they can chase them up to get things done. So this is more the independent, unique application look at or what a student sees, and they may allow you views of this as well. So you got the dashboard, you can see in the bottom left hand side there where they have concerns or questions over their tariff equivalencies, for example, that they can type that in to see what, for example, an A1 offers them in terms of 48 points, and they can do that across all the qualifications that are recognised by UCAS, and Roy might have some questions about that later on. Something that we've covered already. But we go through this, of course, you can add your choices. It's actually very easy to use. I was using it earlier on as a sort of a dummy run, where you would add in, of course, or go through your choices, your profile, your personal statement. And of course, after all that, the student would typically come to you to get their reference done as well, until it's all completed. And of course, the dashboard shows you right along the way where you have completed your full application in terms of the status itself before it's sent off, either through the centre or individually by the student themselves. So you can see there the profile, top left-hand side, personal details, contact details, the education being the most important piece, because obviously that's what they put in their qualifications to date, and those that they're working towards, and any particular grades that they might have for their Leaving Cert hires as well. Other supporting information, for example, employment, can be very important. I know that's probably been quite difficult during the pandemic, but you know, there have been ways and means that people have got part-time work and work that's been relevant to the courses that they're applying for, whether it be retail or business, but even just to show that they've been independent, earning money, gaining skills and competencies that are, you know, sought after by admissions officers within the university as well. And those are transferable across all courses, right across the spectrum that we have. The personal statement, just to point out before, we're going to talk about this a bit later on anyway, there is no spell check there. So it's something that an applicant would do on a word processor offside first, obviously many drafts that they can before they spell check it, and bring it back in and copy and paste it into the UCAS system itself. And of course, all your schools, they should be, bottom left-hand side there, for example, they should be within the system when you're looking for the drop-down for your applicants to see which school they're from, to indicate that they're full-time, and also to indicate when they started and when they expect to finish their studies as well. And something that I'll point out later on in the how to write a personal statement section within UCAS itself, there are loads of hints and tips and little mind maps and resources on the UCAS website for students to look at, and for you guys as well to show in classrooms. But again, as I'll point out later on, it is a very personal thing and something that they have to work on themselves. So some key dates, and the main one, of course, is the deadline date. It's the 26th of January. So there's still loads of time. I know for you guys, you'll be working through this process. So you're trying to get them to get on it as quickly as they can. But they can't, students can't write their personal statement really until they have the 5 choices, because their personal statement reflects the 5 choices that they have. Now, just before I move on any further about talking about the personal statement, and something I should have mentioned back on the health sciences slide, the Paramed Science course is the only one out of all those health sciences, including nursing, including physio, OT, and dietetics, that will be looking at the personal statement. The rest of them, it is solely all about the video interview, and everybody, including nursing, will be invited along to the interview or the automated interview. But Paramed Science have been very particular about wanting to see the personal statement first. Maybe it's their first time. Of course, we've only had one cohort coming through, and they're having to do a lot of vetting on that, and they're using this as a part of the process. But at this particular juncture for this year, they are looking at the personal statement. But for the majority, or for all the rest of our courses, I wouldn't say personal statement would be something we would look at. The issue for applicants or for your students is that that's not the same for Queen's, it's not the same for Manchester, for Oxford, for Glasgow, or for Edinburgh. And so that if that's the case, you know, it's got to be a good personal statement no matter who they're applying for. It's the choices, their 5 choices that will determine the composition of their personal statement, the proportionality of it as well. And I suppose the what they're going to reflect on with regards to the course. And that's why it's ideal that they keep their choices focused. But as I said from the outset, they're perfectly entitled to go off on 5 different subjects. And that's the difficulty of a UCAS system that's very archaic. It shouldn't be like that, but it is. I know there's reforms on the go, but that could take a while before that sort. For example, a student should be able to write a little bit more. Yeah, Rory, no problem. Going ahead.
Sorry, Johnny, just to clarify then, so the personal statement isn't taken into account at all now for any of the courses in Ulster. What about if they're finding it difficult to separate students from the interview? Would it ever be used there?
I was going to come down at the end because it's a conversation both Conan and I have been having with Ronan and Martin, that we have to be very careful with our wording on this, because there is a possibility, a very, very minute possibility that, if they're struggling to choose between a couple of candidates, that they could look at the personal statement. So it's a bit unfair for me to say that, but that is the language that's coming from our admissions team, and not from me. And it is personalized, sorry, not personalized medicine, paramedical science that is the only one that is stipulating we're going to look at this in the first instance. So it's basically, Rory, they're looking at that before they take you to interview, whereas the other ones are going straight to interview. So that's the first part of the first hurdle cleared for everybody else. But yeah, you know how universities work. We make more offers than we do places, because obviously students are applying to other universities, plus students may not get their grades. So our admissions teams have like a little magic formula that determines how many offers they need to make. For say 60 places, they can make 90 offers out, and they're confident that even between the jigs and the reels, really, that they will come back with the magic number required to fill that course, especially courses that are capped, which it is the case for Northern Ireland, but specifically for those health sciences nursing courses as well. So I know there's a little bit of ambiguity in there, but to be honest, as a student, you would be writing a good personal statement anyway. It's just an issue where a student would be maybe have caught wind that maybe a Queen's or a Manchester really look at their personal statement for a specific course, and they worry about how much, how to proportion the amount of content for physio against maybe another course offered at another university as well. I know it's not ideal, but for us, personal statement only for paramedic science mainly. The rest of them, they go straight to interview, and that is the main determinant for being made an offer for the course.
Okay, and just away from the health sciences, Johnny, so for all the other courses, are the personal statements looked at all? Because there's no interview there, so, but are they looked at?
I can tell you, for the likes of business, for marketing, for engineering programs, for computing, they don't. Now, what I would say is, it's not to say that they all of a sudden get a big massive influx of applications for the Belfast campus and they panic, but they don't, and they probably 99.999% won't. But again, it's the one statement for, you get a student who's applied to 5 different universities in the UK, it's that one statement has to be good for them all anyway. So, but I do understand that some students, would worry about putting too much about one course in because they know another university is looking for. And we used to have that issue for students applying for, say, sports studies and sports and exercise science, but they were applying for other universities. We used to tell them we really need to have a good personal statement that tells us why you want to study sports studies and sports and exercise science. And I always felt bad about that. That's what I had to do. And it's kind of like don't shoot the messenger type of thing. But I suppose it's a whole supply and demand thing, and the system doesn't really work rather than the admissions within each individual university itself. Okay, so the main deadline here, of course, is the 26th of January, and we're here to support you between now and then if you need in any shape or form, or if you have any questions. Other key dates are extra. The basic extra is having met the deadline and you start to receive offers from the university, or if you don't receive any offers, you are then, as an applicant, allowed to go back into extra and choose one course until you're made an offer, and keep doing that until you're made one offer. And of course, then that offer stands until you meet the conditions of that offer itself. Typically then after February, interviews or portfolios are commence. And then after that, 5th of May, you are then asked to make your final decisions. So having hopefully been received 5 offers, a student would decline 3 and make 2. That's their firm choice and their insurance choice. And there's a deadline of that for the 5th of May for any decisions you've received by the 31st of March as well. And then clearing, I'll talk about clearing later on, but that opens on the 5th of July. And that's effectively for students who maybe decline all their offers or who haven't made an offer, or for students who didn't meet their grades come August/September time as well. So in terms of UCAS application process, all done online. There's 6 key sections: personal information to fill in, your 5 choices, education to date, your employment, your personal statement, of course, which we'll talk about in a minute or two as well. You guys hopefully will offer and submit a very good reference to support the application to the university or to the relevant university for their particular course. And then, of course, we make our offers based on everything within that application itself. I'm not going to spend too much time on this because a lot of it is, fairly straightforward information. Obviously, students know their name and address, email, all the stuff that would be in their profile to allow us to go back to them itself. The student support piece is where they would select how they're going to be funded to go through their studies, and that is, there's a selection there for the EU Student Finance Services team within the drop-down boxes, which I went through earlier on as well. You can nominate somebody to look at your application, whether that be parent, guardian, or an advisor. That could be the case for a lot of you guys who are doing this independently or not a part of the centre or subscribing to a centre service that UCAS allows schools and services to do. And it's very important also for applicants to note down any special needs or disability they have, and that allows all universities to make and to adjust or make reasonable adjustments, and to go through that application in order so that we are ready for any student that comes along, and that we can make it as a level playing field for any student entering the university. So the more we know, the better at this moment in time, because it takes a lot of time to go through that for every university, not just for you as well. Likewise for education, I went through the example earlier on for St Union. It's very easily just to select your school. Qualifications, of course, and put those all in there. Probably a question later on from Roy about the junior cert. So I don't know why Rowan kept that in there for me, but we'll get to that later on. And of course, any pending qualifications, students will put in there, whether it be at Leaving Cert Higher or Ordinary as well, and any predicted qualifications that will make up a part of the offer that any university will make the student as well. We are U20 on the UCAS system itself as an institution. That's our code. And in terms of deferred entry, a student is allowed to select for their application to be deferred. For example, for 23 entry, we're now into 22 entry, but that may not always be guaranteed. So it's a good idea for the applicant to maybe contact the university to see that it's worth their while making a deferred entry, because it isn't something that we can always guarantee as well. So on to the personal statement. Sorry, something's in the way here. Of course, the personal statement supports the UCAS application, but it is the only element of the UCAS application process that the student has full control over. In other words, it is it's almost like their CV or their selling document. So it's their chance to stand out from other candidates, which is why it has got to be very personal, and it's got to demonstrate the skills, the experiences, the observations, the competencies that they have, and hopefully that are relevant to the course or courses of which they're applying for, and then hopefully any career aspirations that are linked to those courses as well. Universities, of course, can use these personal statements to decipher who has greater merit or potential. And I've already mentioned the fact that that isn't the case for us. It's mainly only for paramedic science, and hopefully that will be the case right through the process of this applicant cycle. But of course, that may not be the case for other universities who are looking at personal statements themselves. It's 4,000 characters, roughly about an A4 page, 47 lines, no formatting at all. And there isn't any one model personal statement. I mean, students can go online and Google personal statements for law, for pharmacy, for optometry, whatever, and they'll get an idea of what students are submitting to UCAS. And it's something that I would do myself, even when doing assignments or coursework, just to get a feel for what's expected. But it's pretty much up to them what they want to put down. But like every other piece of creative writing, it's got to have good structure, good punctuation. It's got to be a good story about the student themselves. And of course, they've got to dot the I's and cross the T's in terms of the spelling and their punctuation right throughout the course of the personal statement. So things to think about if there are still wanting to put together a good personal statement, why they've chosen their courses, what is it about that course, that subject area that they're really interested in, how does it fit with subjects that you're currently studying now, what their knowledge of and understanding of that subject is. For example, on our website, in each course entry, we've got loads of videos from staff, from students, current students, from graduates, from employers talking about the course. We've got module content in the about section on the course. So students really should have done the research by this point, and this helps them really, I suppose, commit and have conviction in their personal statement when they're doing that as well. Any personal achievements that they have, whether it be in sport or in academia or within work as well. And of course, personal qualities. It's all about them, their commitment, their adaptability, their independence, their how they feel that they're best equipped to study that particular program. We tend to talk about the ABC rule, for example, action, benefit, and course. So what have they done? What skills they've gained from doing that, and how they feel this will prepare them for the course. You'll see little models like this for personal statement or for creative writing anyway. And the UCAS website is really good to help them build elements of their personal statement. I'm not going to read through all this, but you'll see it later on as I'll share the slides, but it's a first draft of somebody who's applied for, I think it's law, and they're reflecting on their Duke of Edinburgh Award and other, I suppose, key successes they have had and their interest in the course. But the thing is, it's a bit waffly. It looked good for me on first reading, but a typical personal statement, our admissions officers looking for more observations, more experience, more evidence of skills, competencies, on activities that an applicant has undertaken. So they're looking to see those, for example, planning, collaboration, the skills that they've undertaken themselves, and things like empathy and compassion and communication skills, things they've learned and observed right throughout the course of doing their Duke of Edinburgh Award or being a volunteer as well. So everything can be rewritten, sharper, more succinct and articulated better, especially if they do many drafts of it as well. And of course, there is a similarity detection piece of software on UCAS. So even though I've said, and even I would encourage anybody to go and look at example personal statements, don't copy any bit whatsoever, because like university, as they put it through Turnitin, your coursework, the detection software is there and they can lift out and see, for example, if it's 60% copied, 70, 100, 30, and they will have a threshold before they contact each university and say, look, this one's been completely copied, and the application would be thrown out effectively as well. Now on UCAS, of course, there are loads of resources, mind maps, little sort of templates students can use just to build that personal statement up. And this is great advice for them, no matter which university they're applying for as well. Okay, so let's move on from the personal statement onto the application process in terms of having submitted the application by the 26th of January, and hopefully then each applicant receiving 5 offers, best case scenario. What happens next? So universities make the decisions on your application. They'll make it and they'll hopefully make you an offer. If those offers are made, there'll be either a conditional offer, an unconditional offer, or you're unsuccessful and your application is declined. So let's just take a scenario where they have 5 offers. They most likely will be conditional offers. In other words, you don't have the grades yet. Obviously, you're working on your leaving cert, and that offer will be conditional on you achieving your entry requirements. And then there, of course, a bit of a trend recently from some universities where they make unconditional offers. They see your potential already, and they make that unconditional at the point of application, for example, after the 26th. I know last year we went to unconditional quite late on in August time, and that's something we always have the right to do. And students then have the confidence that, you know, I've got what it takes, and I can just accept that offer now. That can be a market employed by universities as well. I'm sure some of you are aware of. But they're, I suppose, striking with irons hot and trying to get those students with the best potential in now and not leaving it until they get their grades at the end, or sorry, when their results are out as well. Offers are received before you sit your leaving cert. That's just obviously us just highlighting that as well. And students can check the status of any offers or any responses on ucas.com track as well. So if you receive multiple offers, you must reply to these offers within the following replies. So having received all those offers, then you either decide to go for your firm choice, that's your preference choice, your preferential choice, or your backup insurance choice, that's your CF. Now that could be UF, it could be an unconditional firm if you've received an unconditional offer as well. And then ideally, now this doesn't always happen, but we would encourage you to encourage all your applicants to decline all the other offers. That's to allow the other universities to know where they stand and not just still waiting in the background for all those other decisions to come in. So basically you're looking to go to 2, your firm, your insurance choice, and to decline all the other 3 before, I think it was in the middle of May, that last time there as well. So then we fast forward to the middle of August when results day. That typically within Northern Ireland is A-level results day. I know that's certainly later for leaving certs, depending of course on the pandemic this year. I'm sure you guys will confirm that at the end of this presentation. But on results day, no matter what jurisdiction you're in, if the applicant has met their grades, the requirements of their offer therein, that is a contractual obligation, and all they have to do is accept the place at the university via UCAS track. Now, if they've narrowly missed out, it's not always the case that they'll be declined straight away. We have waiting lists. We've got loads of students coming in who have also missed out narrowly on firm choices or insurance choices at other universities. And this is where there's a little bit of a lag in the UCAS system, because we're waiting for other universities to make a decision on allowing a student in who's narrowly missed out before they come to us, maybe with an insurance choice. So it all sort of, there's a ripple effect there as well. So if an applicant has narrowly missed out, it could be a day or it could be 10 days before we decide either to decline them or to make them an offer in the course, or we drop down a grade or maybe 10 UCAS tire points to allow them under the course, or we say to them, look, no, you're now in clearing itself. And of course, if they have missed by a larger margin, they would effectively be declined and automatically go into clearing anyway. That is if they also miss out on their insurance choice as well. And so clearing, of course, then offers the student an opportunity to go back in and to see which universities are offering courses that are typically at a slightly lower entry point as well in terms of the qualifications entry requirements. Sometimes it's because there are new courses that have come on the portfolio as well. So it's an opportunity for the universities in question to recruit to those courses. But the student then can look at the website, they can contact the university, research a course, and then effectively add that choice to clearing to be considered by the university as well. So that's typically opens in the middle of July, but traditionally speaking, for a lot of students who are going through the process themselves, they would probably not look at that until they're either turned down or they've decided, I actually don't want the course I'm applying to now. I'm just going to look at other courses that are in clearing, or they've changed their mind as well. Okay, so just moving on to entry requirements. So all students from the Republic of Ireland must be studying at least 5 leaving cert subjects and obviously have 4 higher levels to be considered for any of our courses as well. For some of the courses, not a huge amount, I must say. We do look for specific subjects. I have got some examples of those on the next slide, but you can see one there, for example, in pharmacy, we're looking for 136 UCAS tire points to include a minimum of 5 subjects, 4 of which must be at higher level, to include English at H6 if studied at higher level, or only 4 if studied at ordinary level as well. So we do have courses that just look for points, but some that look for specific subjects. And then of course, as you see later on, some that we're looking for only, or we specify higher level grades at as well. Okay, so here's some of the examples that Rory, Conan and I have, of course, have highlighted over the last couple of weeks, where we count all subjects. Sorry, what does it say from the outset? We count all subjects except for the LCVP, unless only grades are specified. So these are the ones where only grades are specified. So the likes of biology, radiography, OT, podiatry, speech language therapy, optometry, dietetics, physio, and radiotherapy will only accept, for example, those 5 grades. For example, podiatry requires you to have those 5 H3s, dietetics 5 H3s, physiotherapy again 5 H3s, but we do look for H3s, for example, in either the following: maths, biology, physics, or chemistry. So we'll have to be very wary that the students are studying those particular subjects and that they meet those entry requirements as well before they select that as an option on their UCAS application form itself. As Rory and I have also highlighted, and I'm sure he shared this document with you already, H7 grade is not tarifable, sorry. It's not recognised by UCAS, but through Rory, he's got a way to look at evidence to see if it can be recognised as being equal to ordinary 4. And if that is the case, Martin and Roland within our admissions team would add that to the system as being recognised, but we're still working through that as well. And that's actually a part of our general entry requirements. So for us in the North, that's equivalent to English and Maths, which is currently H6 or ordinary 4. So I suppose, Rory, some of the things we've been working on here is that we're looking for that to be recognised as an equivalent to be accepted alongside our general entrance requirements. For us, that's obviously at GCSE Maths level as well. And the LCVPs are currently not recognised by the university as being a technical qualification, but that's the same across many technical qualifications throughout NI and GB as well. And again, something Roy will probably mention earlier on that we'll probably work towards clarifying or maybe rectifying as well. In terms of QQIs, the level 5 requirements or equivalencies, our website pages don't actually reflect that at the moment. They're far too busy as it is. Martin did promise that they'll be included within the equivalencies table, pardon the typo there at the bottom. So that's something that we're working on at this moment in time as well. And a lot of that work has been hopefully channeled in through Rory and his team at careersportal.ie. So they're enhancing the profile of Ulster University, and hopefully we're going to make the process of updating that and updating the entry qualifications to the Careers Portal a lot easier over the next couple of months, and we look forward to doing that with careersportal.ie as well. So moving on from entry requirements, just to sport very quickly, those of your students who are obviously high performing talented athletes can apply for the talented athlete entry scholarship, where they can access £600 worth of sports services, a UCAS point reduction, and also leniency or flexibility within their coursework, class attendance, or exam performance as well. So I suppose the message is here: we want them to perform well academically as well, but we also recognise that there could be fixture clashes with exams, with coursework, and with class. And what we'll do is we work very hard to make sure that they perform as high as they can at a sport level, but also at an academic level as well. And that particular application form is now up live on the sports website, and you can see there the green button under the Talented Athlete Entry Scheme page, where they can click on that to fill in their application form. Now, that application form doesn't affect the UCAS application form. They're two completely separate entities. If they are successful and successfully recognised as a talented athlete, then any benefits of that, for example, and the reduced entry requirements, will be applied to their offer and will be reflected on the UCAS track system as well. And last few slides, guys, before we get to any questions, we do have a number of insight events taking place at the moment. There's another update due to go out tomorrow. Obviously, the ones you can see on the screen here have just passed, but we have got engineering ones. There was a health sciences one last night, and all those webinars, specific webinars, they'll be put back up again to watch again online tomorrow. So there was, I think, optometry, there was health sciences, there was nursing, They've all taken place, but those videos have been recorded and they'll be put back up online on the ulster.ac.uk/events section of the website. But there's a whole host of other ones, including computing, engineering, and social work, which will take place in the middle of November, which will be put up tomorrow for students. And some of those events are actually physical events as well, not just webinars for students to go along to and to see the campuses as well. Okay, so that's me through the formal part of the presentation. Hopefully I didn't bore you too much, and hopefully it wasn't too quick for you all. But happy to take any questions. And I've actually got a bit of paper with me here for, a lot of the questions that I won't be able to answer, as Rory will probably testify as well. But those that I can't answer, I'll promise I'll come back to you and get answers to. Some, I've got to admit I won't be able to answer today, but as Rory will know, we'll go back to Martin and to Ronan and hopefully have developments on those over the next couple of weeks as well.
Johnny, thanks very much for that. I'm just conscious that there's some people there that won't be able to ask a question. They might need to be made panelists as well.
Yeah, sure. I'll have a look through that now. Yeah.
There's people that somebody has in the chat there on the Q&A. There's 2 different questions there.
Yeah, I'll be looking at that. Yeah. So Q&A. Am I correct in understanding that you do not look at any personal statements bar the paramedic science? Yes, that is the case as we stand. As Rory pointed out, you could have that very, very, very odd or unique scenario where they might have 2 that are very close. It's going to be very few and far between. But look, the personal statement has to be written anyway. But at this moment, it is paramedic science. You're the ones who are looking at it very specifically. The rest of them are going straight to interview, and beyond that, a very, very minute chance they may go back and look at the personal statement, but you're talking 99.99% here, to be honest. I think there was a question on chat. LZVP was awarded a small amount of points in the past by Ulster. Is this not the case anymore? Now, I didn't realize that. Some of this stuff's very new to me as well. So I'll take that down and come back to you all tomorrow to see, was there a reason that isn't the case anymore? And look, it's like every other organisation, they evolve, they have new admissions officers, they might be following UCAS a little bit more. When you could argue that why can't we just do our own thing and forget about the UCAS tariff? And we do have the power to do that. It's just that with 110 courses, the permutations are huge across the multitude of qualifications that the university have. It's very hard for us to publish that on the website, and it's very hard for us to manage that across all the different applications that come in. But I will have a look at that with Ronan and Martin and come back to you tomorrow on that as well.
So Johnny, just clarifying, say if you had a student that only applied for one course, say it was one of the business courses or arts, or and they still need to put in their personal statement, even though it wouldn't be looked at if they were just applying for that one course.
They would probably get away with it, Fiona. I mean,
and just being, I suppose, devil's advocate.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. They could probably get away with it, but I mean, for the sake of 40 lines, why wouldn't they put a statement together to help them, help convince themselves that this is the right course, to help them have conviction in their choice? And for that matter, say come clearing time and they decide they didn't want to apply for that business course anymore, they might be looking at another course within the university or another university in the UK. That person statement sitting there as a sort of one that they can tweak if need be. So.
Okay, that's good. Just want to have you there. I don't know if you'll be able to answer this, Johnny. And it just so happened today before lunchtime, a past pupil contacted me with regard to, she actually has done the stratified medicine course in McGee. Hoping to, to progress on to medicine. Now, she did the interview in McGee, but she wasn't successful. So she's now looking further afield. And she's looking at some of the universities in Scotland, but one of the universities have given her a conditional offer, but she needs to increase her chemistry grade. So she's looking to specifically just repeat her chemistry exam here in the Republic, but she's just wondering for her UCAS application, and I'm presuming it's gone in already if it's medicine, that does she put pending because she won't have her result for that until June with regard to this chemistry specifically?
Yeah, I mean, I presume so. I'm not totally sure, to be honest with you. But if she hasn't got the grade yet, it's a qualification that she's sitting. So just like somebody who's applying as an undergraduate for the undergraduate program, that qualification, that education bit would be pending. Yeah.
Yeah, so she should be okay to do that. That's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Just came in to me today, just before lunch here. So
not a problem. I mean, I'll try to find out anyway for you from the next room and what the situation is around that, just to make sure it's okay. But yeah, I'll come back to that anyway if you're okay.
that's great. Thank you.
I've got a few questions here from Shirley. Do you offer any languages other than Irish as part of the business course example? No, we don't. The only other language is mechanical engineering with German, because all the modern languages were removed. I think it was 4 or 5 years ago up at the Coleraine campus. So unfortunately, not Irish is the only language that we have at this moment in time. And Sinead is asking, can clarify, is the nursing personal statement not looked at? No, it's not. It's straight to Sonru video interview. Back to the Q&A, hopefully I haven't missed out any there. Is there no interview, e.g. for communication management PR? No, there's not. And you doesn't look at the personal statement. I don't say which is. Basically, the university looks at it based on their academic ability or academic potential. So it's effectively on what grades they have been predicted to have or have already. And it's just as simple as that. This is a case of supply and demand. If you're a university that has, like, for example, 500 applications for a course that only has 80 places, they would look at other measures to try to control the applications, i.e. look at the personal statement. But the pandemic has offered the university or pushed us, I suppose, a lot quicker to do like those Sonru video interviews, which are automated, and they're less resource intensive for admissions officers. For example, nursing, we received 2,000 applications for 240 or 250 places. And in years gone by, they would have vetted the personal statement first for the first 1,000 and then physically interviewed the other 1,000 to get down to 220. The video interview allows them to very quickly go to offer a certain amount, maybe probably 400 or 500, because all those other students also apply for Queen's and other nursing courses as well. But no, for the likes of communications and PR, business and marketing, no, it's straightforward. Your offer will be made on the basis of your grades or predicted grades. And that's all the questions we have at this moment in time.
There's just another one there from McElhinney in the chat.
On the chat, MSC, just come back to it now. Can you give us the format of the video interview for health sciences? Well, it's very simple. It's and I'm going to push Ronan for this today again after I come off this webinar. It's a 15-minute interview. It's 3 to 4 questions. It's automated, so there isn't anybody at the other side. The applicant will be able to do like a dry run. They're able to answer 3 or 4 questions. It's a practice session before they do their official interview itself. You've got to imagine here, if you're trying to prepare a student, that it's 3 or 4 questions, it's 15 minutes. So you're going to be expected to speak 5 minutes per question, being put your way. So they've got to really articulate themselves and have a lot of preparation done about why they want to be an allied professional or why they want to be a nurse. And understand the skills and the competencies and the situations that a health profession or a nurse or even a social worker, for example, would find themselves in, what their career aspirations are. So we're looking for a lot of personality within that as well. I'm hoping to sort of glean some sort of example questions. Some of our admissions officers aren't too keen on doing that because they see it as a bit too, we're spoon feeding too much. But as a part of some of the resources that I'm trying to give out to you guys and the careers teachers within Northern Ireland, because it's the first time looking at this, I'm hoping to give you a little bit more of an insight of what to expect for your applicant, to help them prepare more and to create longer answers. Because you know they're like, they're kids. We used to go into the schools and say, like, why do you want to become a nurse? And a student would say to me, because I want to care for people, and that was it. But we're looking for another 3 or 4 minutes in that answer, because they aren't going to be prompted as they would have been during a physical interview itself.
Johnny, can I ask, I'm not sure if you can hear me, yeah?
Yeah, go ahead.
If you've nearly 2,000 people applying for the nursing and it's an automated interview, is somebody having to sit and listen to 2,000 interviews, or are they just picking up on keywords?
They're listening to the interviews, but I can there may be a sort of keyword search beforehand. Like I'm still trying to get to the bottom of all this as well, and that's why it's great to have sessions like this, because I can then go back to the admissions team who have just contracted Sonru in the last year, and then just in the last couple of weeks as well. So as a part of that, I'm hoping to get you everything that you need to know about the process and how the applicant is considered or vetted as well. But apart from that, I'm sorry to say that's just about as much as I know about the process at this moment in time, but I will get you more, promise, as much as I can. Another question here on the chat is just to clarify about the H7 grade being recognised. Richard Missions said that you may be willing to accept it as being equal to an ordinary 4, but only for the entry requirements. I think that was only for the general entrance level requirements for the university, not for 7 UCAS tire points. Now, I'll be very careful there. I'm not sure who Richard is within the admissions team, but Rory, you know, through speaking to Martin, who's one of the managers, they at this moment in time wanted evidence from the Irish qualifications authorities for us as a university to be able to recognise that within the UCAS tariff, and that's where I think we still are as well. So we're still working on that.
Yeah, sorry, sorry, Johnny, you're answering a question. That's why I typed it. It's not Richard. Sorry, it's Martin. Martin, obviously, that's who I meant. I didn't mean Richard.
Yes.
Sorry.
Oh, right. It was him that said that. Then, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, he's saying that the H7 they might be willing to recognise it just for the general entry requirements, but not to be counted as one of the subjects
for points.
You know, the way over here a H7 can get you 37 CO points, but he says that there won't be any chance of it given tariff points for your system. That's what he was saying, but it might be able to be used for the general entry requirements.
Yeah, and I think, Rory, one of the things that we were talking about last time with Martin and with Conan was, you know, trying to have this regular contact or have a paper that recognises and pushes for this, because as a key stakeholder, it's the only way things like this can get pushed on, and that these qualifications are recognised as equal to other qualifications that are awarded points within other systems. And these things evolve all the time. You know, they evolve so much I forget half them as soon as I'm told them. If we think about all the qualifications that are considered right through the UCAS system as well. So sorry, I didn't say your name, Roy, but I saw Richard and I thought. So here we've got Fiona, you were asking how are UCAS handling junior certificates? Students who did not sit their actual junior cert from 2 years ago. Well, we don't recognise, or it's not recognised as tariffable within the UCAS application form. So it's not counted, so it doesn't really matter to UU at this moment in time.
Okay, Graham, thank you.
I'm very conscious of the time, Johnny, but there's just 2 more things over in the Q&A section.
Yeah, thanks. It's great. I'm having this disappeared on my screen, the Q&A. Okay, just that was
UCAS deadline being the 22nd. That one from Maria there, 3-2.
Oh, students have already started to see. Okay, yeah. It's not something that I was aware of, to be honest with you, in terms of the early offers. I mean, the university has flipped on this the past 4 or 5 years. We at one point we're not making any offers until after the closing date, and then we moved to, well, if the applications, then we could do that and make the offers. And sometimes it depends on the course as well. So it's something I'm going to point out tomorrow to Roland and and I learned this sometimes for you guys as well, to be perfectly blunt with you. But that's the case. I'll confirm that out to you guys in an email or in the newsletter and say, look, if students have their application form ready. I mean, I don't know if there's a huge benefit to it, because they'd be made an offer anyway, even if they made their application after the 26th, if they meet the requirements and you know, go through the processes and whatnot. But if it's, for example, like for a business course or for an engineering course, the likelihood is they get it in that they might get an offer right away, and that confidence is there that they have that offer sitting already. But I'll double check that with them tomorrow if that is going to be the case wholesale as well. Offers been made before. Okay, and Liam, with regards to entry to art and design, are students to take a year out after A-level for those students? No, Liam, my assumption there is that everybody's in the same pool, and there isn't any preference. So Liam's asking there, for example, if the student is applying for art and design, and then need to create a portfolio or to develop a portfolio up, and need to wait till next year. You know, do they go in? I think this is my understanding. Do they go in alongside the same pool, or do next year's applicants have preferential treatment? You know, my understanding is that they'll be all treated the same. But what I'll do is I'll copy that and go to our admissions colleagues, clarify that for you as well. And then, guys, any questions or any answers to any questions that have been put to me today, I'll put them all together and go back to you all, or through Rory if you have an email addresses for those who have attended today as well.
Jonathan, sorry, it's Yvonne.
Hi, Yvonne.
Can't really hear you, Yvonne, but I see
Sorry, everyone. I thought we had it. Yeah. I'm trying to mute Yvonne here, so there we go. I'm not doing it deliberately, or I'm doing it, but you're coming through. It's breaking up. I think you've asked the question. Can you explain when and how Ulster might allow a grade drop still offer a student a course who had not met the entry requirements? This wouldn't typically happen, Yvonne, until after results day. And that typically is for A-level results day, which is usually the third week in August. So obviously that's 95% of all the applications that come into Ulster University. So once we see them all coming in, and we notice that, you know, certain A-levels have played a little bit harder this particular year, or that the performance hasn't been as good. So if I talk about it from an A-level point of view, and we're looking for an A and 2Bs, and the majority of students who applied, for example, for law, you know, have got 2Bs and a C, they might drop to 2Bs and a C. And it only happens at about that point where they create waiting lists to allow then the drop to be applied also to Leaving Cert, or to international baccalaureates, or to BTECs, or something like that. So any drops would typically not be made until A-level results day, which is usually the third week of August. And that will be reflected across all qualifications by the admissions team.
See, Tara has her hand up there. No, it's okay.
Can you come in okay, yeah?
Yeah, that was earlier, sorry.
Okay.
Well, listen, if nobody has any other questions, I think I might just wrap it up. I don't think you anticipated being quite so long with us, so thanks very much for giving up.
No, not a problem at all, Maria. Not a problem, guys. Thanks very much for listening. I mean, look, I did have a couple of other slides earlier on before my other laptop kicked the bucket, but it was actually to show you the trends of applications from Donegal in the past 3 years. And as some of you may know, you know, Anthony, a Donegal man himself, is very keen to see applications from Donegal. And just to give you an idea, in 2019 and 20, in comparison to now, we now have as many applicants as applications 3 years ago. So we now get in around 1,500 applications from Donegal, and take in roughly about 250 enrolments from Donegal itself. And that was one of the slides. And what I'll do is I'll add it to this slide once I get a bit of time later on, just to give you an idea of, I think, you know, of the traction we're getting, and we're delighted with that. And we had a meeting yesterday with the Pro Vice Chancellor, and who's also very keen to recruit and promote Ulster University within Donegal, within the Republic, and of course within the border counties as well. So it's just to give you confidence that, you know, we are looking for students from the Republic as well, and I've been pushing very hard over the past 3 years. Also, just to finish off, we're doing a mail campaign at the moment. Now, unfortunately, you guys are going to receive this, so we're going to send a letter which is addressed to the parents of your Leaving Cert students, which has in that an undergraduate prospectus, a leaflet that's specifically designed for Republic of Ireland students, and a letter to highlight all the unique selling points of studying at Ulster University. And both Cora and I and the team are doing all the sort of the stuffing at the moment in the office. So and we'll batch those and put them in boxes and send them out to the schools for you to hand out to each of your Leaving Cert students over the next 2 to 3 weeks, because we have time. We've got until the 26th of January to convince students that Ulster University is a very, very good option for them, not just financially, but also for the portfolio of programs that we have to offer them as well.
Okay, thanks very much. Thanks, Rory, for liaising with Johnny and getting it all set up for us today. So I'm going to leave you to it. So thank you very much.
Okay, guys, all the best. Okay, goodbye.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thanks so much. That was great.
Cheers, Johnny. Good man.
Right, no problem. Look, I'll follow up through you. Obviously, you can go through the team there with any questions from today. And if there's anything else, of course, we can work through these anyway over the next couple of weeks anyway. So
That's deadly, Johnny. If you could just maybe email me the link for the recording, then I could get it sent out then to the rest of the members. So
no problem. I'll crop it front and back for any of this sort of information's coming in, or any of this sort of dialogue now.
Dead on.
Thanks very much, guys.
Thanks, Bree. Okay. Thanks, Karen. Vaughan. See you there. Bye-bye.
Wee bit of work left there yet for you, Johnny. Come here. Listen, thanks again. I'll let you go. Cheers.
Thanks a lot. All the best. Bye-bye.